I think this is a perfect time to talk about development plans as they're being launched and as we've got development days coming up. So we're going to get started. I don't think we'll take the full hour. I think I'm frozen. And if you can't hear me, please let me know. But we shall kick it off with a really lovely HRBP guide for talent development for 2020. So introduction for our agenda today really quickly. Why are we doing talent development plans this year? We're going to ask this question. I mean, we've all been crazy busy with COVID. So we want to acknowledge that why did we choose to continue with development plans this year? What's new? An overview of the process. And at that point, I'll actually just do a demo for how to access your share. And then forms your support, which would be for HR, and then forms to complete and share. So why are we doing this year? Once again, as you can see, the chaos that is everyone working from home. You've got the stress of kiddos maybe working from home, school from home. We want to make sure that you guys know and that we are still wanting to focus on our development. Sometimes you sit there and think, this is one of the better opportunities to focus on me. I've got maybe a little bit more time, or I've changed my schedule enough to where I can take an hour here or an hour there to do a training. We want to highlight career development remains a priority during these uncertain times and create a platform for open well-being check between managers and employees. So this is also your opportunity to say, like, raise your hand and say, you know what? I'm struggling. It's been a hard year. I need some support. I need some help. It allows us to better understand the current situation. It allows us to really see, like, how are you all doing truly? Have that one-on-one personal connection where maybe it's not like your regular one-on-one in which you're doing, okay, what have we completed, not completed? So what's new? So we split the mid-year conversations from our talent development plans this year, which we talked about. We've got a guide for all career developments, including TDP links for employer brand. This sets the guideline for your career. We're doing career panels. So if you go on Workplace, you'll actually see this a little bit more, where people are talking about their career pathing. We also are doing something like this with within customer collab and solutions and sales and operations planning. We had our first career coffee talk last week, I believe, and we'll have another one before the end of the talent development process. We've got development days coming up, so get excited for that. We'll talk about e-learning. It gives an additional resource for managers to check in. We've simplified the form and share, just made it essentially 3 or 4 boxes. And there are on-demand trainings per function. So overview of the process. So y'all know talent development plans launch September 21st. So you can actually go in right now and start putting information in your talent development plans. I'll say that's something I like to do. If I've got, 15 minutes in between a meeting, maybe jot a couple notes down. That way it doesn't feel like a daunting process to sit down and get it completed before I have my one-on-one with my manager. We're starting training sessions now, and we've got development days starting next week. So once again, really hoping that you guys are able to attend some of those. This says October 30th is our talent development timeline. If you saw the note from Silvio, it's actually November 16th. You've got till mid-November, but October 30th is always just like a really nice little deadline to get it done early and keep it in the top of mind. So what are the phases with the development plan? So this is before your conversation. For your preparation, you want to reflect on your career goals and your development goals. This year's supply chain is not going to do our self-assessment on functional competencies. This is because we are actually reworking our competencies to make them more accurate. The supply chain competencies that we have listed now are from 2017, prior to the merger, the acquisition, and so they don't really reflect what our organization is doing. And then we're also going to be doing this year self-assessment on growth agility. So you may have heard these growth agility. I've said it a couple times. With this, it talks about your grit, your ability to, your emotional IQ, your ability to handle change. And it gives you an opportunity to say, okay, I feel like I'm relatively high on my growth agility, or maybe, you know what, it takes me a little bit to accept change. So maybe my growth agility is a little bit more in the middle, right? Then the day of your conversation with your manager, you want to talk about your strengths and your development opportunities. So think about what are some of the key features of your job that you're like, I'm super strong at this, or even key leadership characteristics that you have that you're strong at. Discuss your code's focus, key highlights, and then get feedback. So talk about some feedback. Your manager may say, if I've put my strengths as public speaking and relationship building, my leader may come back and say, Chelsea, I think that your relationship building is great. I think your public speaking needs a little bit of tuning. Also, I think you have a strength here. We'll also talk about your development areas. So identify one development area. For me, this may be data analytics. I would say having to turn on that blue side of my brain is a little bit harder. And so what am I going to be doing to really help push and accelerate that part of my learning? So that's co-building the development plan. So like I said, we've highlighted a development opportunity. For me, data analytics. So what am I going to be doing to really focus on that? A short-term assessment or a short-term mission of mine may be working closely with the HR shared services team to go through all of value chain data and confirm the accuracy there. A longer term opportunity here is to create a larger project in which we dive a little bit deeper, get to know the different tools we have through our HR systems to be able to better analyze our people data. Overall, you want to choose 2 or 3 actions to accomplish between now and next year for your development. And once again, this is a self-driven conversation. So go in with the expectation of, I want to accomplish this, not something that your manager is handing down for you to accomplish. And then the final part of your development conversation is to talk about your short and mid-term career journeys. So this is where those career coffee talks are really going to help you guys. I know if this is, first, second, third role, or if this is something that's supply chain, you're like, I don't really know where I want to go in it. Talking and learning with other people in the organization who have had different career paths is a great opportunity to see that no one path, no one direction is the only way to go. So with this, think about, okay, my long-term goal is to be a director of HR. What jobs do I need to have? What things do I need to do in the short/midterm to get there? For me, that's 1 to 2 more lateral moves. One into a plant HR manager role, another one potentially to an HR top line business partner role. So you can think about it that way. Just because you express that this is your development idea, say I'm a customer solutions and I want to go into an S&A role followed by a planning role for my future to be a demand planning manager, doesn't mean that that career path is set in stone. It just helps you to better hone in on what areas you need to develop and how your manager can help support you in that. That's where I said declaring jobs of interest. It can be a whole host of jobs. You can say, you know what, I think this is the direction I want to go, but I'm not really sure. You want to talk about your mobility. If you are interested or able to move outside of the Broomfield or White Plains office or the sales office you're located in. We want you to define your history pre-Danone. A lot of times we get blinded by or forget about, our lives before we were employees at Danone. So make sure your manager is aware of that. If you say, example, I have experience in benefits facilitation and organization, and that's something that I make sure my manager knows so that when we talk about my future career planning, she doesn't say, oh, you should do a rotation here, not knowing or not aware of my past life doing that job. And then discuss readiness for next steps. This is, that transparent conversation of, I've been enrolled for 12 months. Am I ready to move on when I hit that 18-month mark? Are there still things that I need to accomplish in this role to see that I am truly ready for that next step? And what is that next step? So that is the phase of your development conversation. Once again, we're leading the conversation. You're leading it with your manager. This is your story to write. So come in as transparent as you can, because that way your manager can help support you and get you connected in the right areas of the business. So growing your career at Danone, guide for contents. So think about your talent development plan, phases of the plan, best practices, and completing your TDP and share. This is where we want you guys to be aware of and use your training resources. These can all be accessed through Campus X. I know we sent out a note last month, I believe, that talked about logging into LinkedIn Learning. You can all hopefully get access to an account there, but it can help you identify your career development. Campus X has some really good trainings to help you hone in on, if I don't really know what I want to be when I grow up, like, and that's still maybe the question 10, 20 years from now, it can help guide you in that conversation. Think about, look through our development days schedule. So once again, I'm going to flip over to that. But thinking about being agile and known, this helps with your growth agility. Looking at critical skills and habits in Excel. Once again, that's some of those more black and white basic roles and basic skills and ability. Wednesday, thinking of the management tools. If you want to be a future manager, this could be a cool opportunity to learn some of the management basics known. And then fierce feedback, 10 out of 10, great training to take. It allows you to effectively have communications, especially if it is a harder conversation. It really helps you with the skills to have that conversation, which potentially is with your manager, with a peer. And then Friday, bringing it all back to mindfulness, how to conserve your energy, how to really have that deep breath moment. So going back, so your support, this is what I'm hoping to help you guys with as your HR business partner. While I am out, we will have another HR resource, Jessica, who's going to be helping you guys. She will be on my own office. But if you have technical difficulties, you can reach out to her or Stephanie, and they can help you guys through your talent development. So let's complete the form and share. I'm going to flip over to this. To get to share, everyone hopefully knows, go through DNA Connect. It is in the top right corner or top right section. Let's see. That's my community impact. Under employee resources, employee links, then you go to share. As you can see, I've got mine up. We'll go to my development conversation. I appreciate you guys waiting in real time, since share is one of our fastest systems yet. And I guess while we wait, are there any questions at this time? Or does this feel like, okay, I understand where we're going? Awesome. Okay. So 3 main characteristics. So for co-building my development plan / call to action. First, functional competencies, again, no need to worry about those, but self-reflection on leadership and codes focus. These are where you can access, how am I doing in my leadership? How am I doing in my codes focus? This may help you identify some of your strengths or potentially an opportunity that you want to focus on this year. And then here is where I've got my strengths. So I said earlier, mine is public speaking and relationship building. Now, I would definitely want to go a little bit farther in the detail, add a couple sentences that talks about how these strengths help in my current role, how I'm going to be utilizing them for future roles. And then my development opportunity here is data analytics. So once again, where I have opportunities with data analytics, how that relates to my role, and then with the call to action, working with your manager, this is what I plan on doing in the short and midterm. So I plan on working on project to analyze data with HRIS team, go into a little bit more detail, how you may activate that, who your stakeholders are going to be, and what you're kind of make it a SMART goal there. And then for my career journey, you can talk about, click here to check jobs of interest. So you'll see on mine, I've got HR manager, I've got talent leader, talent and culture team, I've got top line HR business partner, and then Right under that, you have the ability to click through mobility and select where you would be willing to move with Danone. And then that final box, it's going to take a hot minute to load, is to talk about where you really want to take your career. Have that candid conversation with your manager. Hey, I want to be this in the next 3 to 5 years. And hopefully your manager will be candid enough to talk about, yes, I believe you're going to be getting there, or you know what, I'm not sure you're there. Here, you can see my jobs of interest. Was not lying. Those really are. Reality check on mobility. And then where do I want to be when I grow up? So 5 years, director level. How am I going to get there? I'm going to take 1 to 2 lateral moves between now and 2025 to get me prepared for this director level position. So that is career pathing, guys, or that is talent development plans. Are there any questions right now? Any things you may have questions about? Making sure I'm going
Where
through all
can we
the
find the competency, the new updated competencies?
They have not been created yet. We are in the process of working on them. So we will be rolling that out in 2021.
Okay. But where can we find the current competencies?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or do we just kind of make...
They're available through the same share on your share profile. You'll be able to hit here. So functional competencies, click here. It's going to take you to workplace. But you'll select, this is actually really nice too. If you want to identify some competencies within, let's see, I haven't clicked on this in a hot second. You're actually able to go in and like look at sales competencies, transportation competencies, supply chain competencies, different things like that. Okay, with this, we're just, so let's see, competency referrals, and that's where I'd rank myself. And as a reminder with competencies, if you do go through looking at them, they're for all levels within supply chain. So we're talking 10As, 9-9s, all the way up to Rick Camacho. So be cognizant of that as you are thinking through where do I fall as a learner, qualified, etc.
We did these last year, Chelsea, right? We did them.
Yeah, you did them last year and they weren't as, and it's the same ones as last year. And if you remember, they weren't like the most accurate, right, Diane?
Yeah, we just did the best we could with them, but I'm glad they're being rewritten. That's great.
Exactly. I don't know why I'm in marketing, but you should be able to go through here and find non-marketing competencies.
Cody, I might be able to find mine and show you where that is from last year. I'm not sure if you did yours last year, but.
I think I did, but
Okay.
Probably forgotten where I had them at or whatever.
Chelsea, I have a question. Several people had put on theirs, if they were interested in another position or whatever, shadowing somebody. And that was when we were in the office, and now we have none of that option. That was a way to learn if they liked a position, in supply planning or whatever it is, customer solutions. So that's kind of a difficult spot we're in right now.
It is. From a shadowing perspective, but you do have an opportunity. It's like, say I'm interested in PMO, I would reach out to like Jay Lucart or maybe someone on that team to say, hey, do you mind if I just sit in on a meeting? I will be muted the whole time, but there's still ways to shadow even in a virtual capacity. To your point, Diane, it is a little bit harder and you don't get that same face-to-face connection, but don't be afraid to reach out and ask to join meetings,
Okay, that's a good recommendation. Actually, I can. That sounds good.
Okay. Y'all, I'm going to try and find supply chain competencies because we were going down a really bad rabbit hole over here in Campus X. But you can see all the different trainings we have around supply chain specifically. Are there any other questions, guys?
Can you make sure transportation's added to that next career coffee chat?
Yes. Yeah. I'll reach out to the SNOP team. So what's cool about the career of coffee chats, and we've been kind of piloting it. We had our first round, like I said, I think on the 21st. It's part of the DPS action plans that came out for SNOP, and then Customer Collaboration and Solutions actually identified the same opportunity of, I don't know really how to start my career pathing conversation. I don't know what goes into that. And this was one action the two teams worked together to take to move forward with DPS. But I will connect you with Ron Bylowski, who is running it for the SNOP team, and see if you guys can be added. I don't know why you wouldn't be, but cool. Well, thank you guys. 20 minutes in this training. If you have any questions, once again, you'll be able to reach out to Jessica. You'll be able to reach out to Stephanie, as well as your managers through this process, and we'll get it going. But thank you again for the time.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Chelsea, will you be sending out the deck?
Yes, I should be able to share that one.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, John.